National Action Network Change Choir. Give them a big hand. Give them a big hand. Certainly we're happy to be with you another Saturday morning for the Saturday Action Rally. For you that are here live in the House of Justice, and you that are listening live on 1190 AM WLIB in New York, and for you that are watching on Facebook Live, and we will be on momentarily Impact Television all over the world. Let us give a hand to our presider, to Attorney Michael Hardy, and certainly our producer this morning, Brother Minister Stephen Marshall. Certainly we are happy to have heard our inspirational message this morning, Pastor Sean Mason. Give him a hand. And we are very happy to have him with us, and I was listening as he dealt with, I'm going to get back into that in a minute. He flipped my whole message for tomorrow. When got them 4 lepers, that was amazing and appropriate sermonette, we used to call them, at when I was growing up, and it's certainly appropriate for this, the first Saturday Action Rally of 2019. Let me say that we are sad to announce, talking about our choir, the passing of Juanita Rosemary Dean Morgan, one of our choir members, passed. And her services will be at the Metropolitan AME Church, and we want on this Monday coming, and homegoing services Tuesday at 10 o'clock. Many of you know her. She was in the choir for many years and had been a faithful worker, member, and was here not long ago. And we certainly give our prayers and condolences to the family. And we're going to have a strong change choir in 2019 to continue her work. Give her a big hand, Juanita Morgan. I want to also, on the brighter side, you know, one of the things that you do, a lot of people take holidays off. And because of, I guess, the way I lived my life, holidays is work days for me. We feed the homeless, I say houseless, and we feed seniors here on Christmas Day. I'm usually somewhere trying to be in a room we can raise funds for the New Year on New Year's Day. And because growing up, when I was in breadbasket, we would go to the prisons on Christmas Day. And later, the couple of years I would be with James Brown, he'd perform on Christmas Day. So holidays, I never planned holidays. So this New Year's, because my grandson was born, I kind of like didn't know what to do because I was stuck in New York. So I went and did my show, and then I spent New Year's afternoon with Brother Monk at the hospital. And I want y'all to know Brother Monk is fine. And he had kept saying, I want Rev to come see me, but I know he's busy. So I didn't send word. I just got in the car, told the brother, I said, drive me on up to the Bronx. And I went and surprised him and spent the afternoon, the first day of the year, Brother Monk. And all the fellas on his floor didn't believe he knew me. And they listened to the radio broadcast. But I told them not only does he know me, Brother Monk was one of the ones that helped in the beginning of National Action Network. And he is saying that this organization was built to give voice into this country for people like the monks of the world that people wanted to ignore, but they were speaking truth anyhow. And a lot of folk get confused about that. So I've told him I'm going to report back and let everybody know he is fine. He told me, tell Attorney Hardy to come get me out of here. Ain't nothing wrong with me. And I told him, I said, well, Hardy is a lawyer par excellence. His wife's a doctor. He is not qualified to decide if you're all right. And his doctor don't handle, his wife don't handle your kind of cases. So until we get an expert, you're gonna sit right here and we just visit you. Let me say that we're happy today. I am very happy that Marcus Al Sharpton Bright is 1 week old today. And one of the things about family, Ashley and Attorney Hardy and I talked about family the other night. Everybody that is close to you ain't family. Let me get straight. I'm getting into my New Year's message. Everybody that has proximity to you is not your family. Everybody that grew up around you is not your family. You confuse familiarity with family. You may be familiar with me, but you ain't my family. Family are people that are bonded together spiritually and have the same world view and think the same way. Am I right? Family is together through thick and thin. Family is people that understand each other in their strengths and in their weaknesses. A lot of folk been around me for years are not my family because they can flip on you in a minute because they're not bounded to you or bonded with you. That's why the Bible says, how can two walk together lest they agree? If you can abruptly walk away from something, you was never there. Hello? That's why I never got upset folk leaving. Because if you can leave like that, you wasn't there in the first place. You can't lose what you ain't never had. A lot of y'all be crying about folk going. They were never there. And they were in the way. Well, I've been around them for years. In the way. Let's welcome our Impact family walking. Welcome them watching from all over. And I say that to say this morning I was late coming out because of Reverend Jesse Jackson, who mentored me in the movement, called and wanted to pray with Dominique and I on the phone. He called the other day while she was in the hospital, as a lot of other folk called. Some folk called for politics, but that's family. And the reason I say that family, I was saying to Reverend Jackson, one of the things we talked about here last week was how we must trace the history of our people. Reverend Jackson knows 4 generations of Sharptons. He knew my father and mother. He spoke at my mother's funeral, knows me, knows Dominique and Ashley, and now knows my grandson. That's 4 generations. I knew his grandmother, spoke at his mother's funeral, spoke at his mother-in-law funeral, know him, know his kids, and know Jesse Jr.'s kids. 5 generations. So I'm not talking about met them. I'm talking about stayed at the house and spent Christmas with them and all. So when you have that kind of intermingling, that is the history and lineage of your family. Yes. One of the mistakes that you must not make in 2019 is confusing that those that you walk with are in step with where you're going. A lot of folk walking with you are walking with you to get where they're going. They're not headed to where you're going. Yellow. And I want to get into that. Let me say also to my family, many years ago, Bishop James Dixon in Houston, Texas, worked with National Action Network. I was with him last year, many of you remember. And we had a meeting there putting the business and NAN community together. He is working with the mother of Jasmine Barnes, this young child that was shot in what appears to be a hate crime. And they're looking for a white assailant in Houston. The funeral will be at Bishop Dixon's church on Tuesday. And I want all of you watching on Impact Television that can in any way help with the finding and the arrest of this person to cooperate and help with the family. One of the things that Bishop Dixon was telling me this morning is that what is not so well known, and I'm going to have some of the folk from Houston and the family on Politics Nation tonight, many of you 5 o'clock Eastern time on MSNBC's my Saturday show and Sunday show, but on tonight's show, I'm going to have the family on. And one of the things that is not well known is there were 3 other young folk in the car that watched her get killed. And they are traumatized and affected. And I think that some of the athletes and some of the known folk and others, Sean King and others, have done a great job getting a GoFundMe for the family. But we also need to support these other youngsters that will go through life with this scar. So I'm going to work with Bishop Dixon on that, and he'll be doing the funeral on Tuesday. Let's pray for the family of Jasmine Barnes. Now, we are in the middle of probably the most senseless administration that we've seen in the history of this country. President Donald Trump said on yesterday that the government shutdown may last months, even a year. Is what he said now. But at the same time, he said that I can, through an emergency act, in the name of national security, build a wall right now. So, what are you saying? You want the Congress to give you $5.6 billion to build a wall that you saying you can do anyway. But you don't want to do that. You want to make the Congress do that while 800,000 people are sitting around not getting paid or being furloughed. So they become the ball in the middle of your tennis match with Schumer and Pelosi. That is a sick, senseless, insensitive way. Now, I want y'all to get this, because a lot of us don't really understand the gravity of what a shutdown means. This is not only about a delayed check. Some folk that work for contractors, like janitorial services, those folk ain't getting no delayed check. If you have a contract, you ain't getting that money back. If you are sitting home, a federal worker, well, we'll send you a letter to your landlord about your rent, or we'll send your mortgagee man, tell him you'll be paid eventually. But what am I going to tell the gas station when I got to bring the kids to school? Ain't no letter for the gas attendant. What am I going to tell the milkman? What am I going to tell the grocery man? We are dealing with people that have been wealthy and never understood how people live paycheck to paycheck and have to buy things like a carton of milk, a loaf of bread, and can't afford to go weeks without their money. They think mortgage because they landlords. But they don't think about the staples of people that are federal employees that you just sitting up there just throwing out. It could be a year. Like it means nothing. About a wall that is not going to secure anybody. Instead of talking about, well, it's a national emergency, terrorists can come. There is no record of any terrorists coming across the Mexican border. Now, there have been plenty of terrorists, but they didn't come across the Mexican border. Now, let me get this right. You're going to build a wall, $5.6 billion, against some Mexican terrorists that have never ever been evidenced to be in existence. But your son-in-law is having conversations with the crown prince, who there is evidence had knowledge of killing and dismembering a journalist that live here in the country. Schizophrenia. The bargaining that is going on now has nothing to do with human morality. Now, one of the things, Reverend Mason, that the King movement of this, which this organization is a child of, is that it's centered in public morality. Politics asks what is right in terms of popular, but morality asks what is right in terms of ethics. Then between us and politicians is we fight for what is right morally, not what is right in a advantageous way. That's why I can tell a lot of folk join the network and people saying, well, you know, Rev ain't warmed up to them or Rev ain't this. Because I sense in them that they are about advantage, not about the moral improvement of the community. They just want to be known. And they'll do whatever they got to do to be known. They'll, you know, do a tumble sauce up the Empire State Building if you put on Eyewitness News. There are no boundaries to their desire to be known. And when you will do anything you will end up nobody. You get a season, and you will get to a big plateau, only so everybody can watch you fall. That's why, let me tell you something. This is Bible again, said Mason. Try the Spirit by the Spirit. Some folk look good, got little, nuances they can do. But spiritually, that you don't connect. My mom used to say, just something about them ain't right. Some folk that I can just talk to 5 minutes and say, saying the right things, got the right slogan, but something about them ain't right. Because this is a spiritual movement. Only spiritual people will go march for strangers. Only spiritual people will pay folks rent and not tell them bring your receipt. Only spiritual people will go spend nights in jail and not ask nobody to pay for it, because you believe in something higher. And if you don't have that spirit, you don't belong in this movement. You belong in somewhere where you can get what you're trying to get. That's why the Bible says, seek ye first the kingdom and his righteousness, and all these other things will be added. Now, what am I saying? The first Saturday of the month of the year. I want y'all to get this now. What I'm saying is, when somebody tells you they in a movement, but they didn't get what they wanted, they were not in the movement. Because if you're in a movement, you're supposed to be moving the movement forward, and you will get what you wanted added. You want the movement added to you. Hello. When I joined Operation Breadbasket, when my mother brought me to Reverend Jones, and I formed the youth department, I didn't form the youth department at 13 years old to become known. I didn't know what being known was. Went on from there and formed National Youth Movement because we wanted to change things. Yesterday, January 4th, 25 years ago, I was arrested sitting on a subway protesting they was raising the fare to 75 cents. We posted it. 25 years ago, quarter of a century ago. Now they still raising up the fare. 25 years later, the mayor talking about a fair thing. But my point is that I was in the movement many years before y'all ever heard my name. I got national notoriety, 86, 87, Howard Beach. I became the youth director of Operation Breadbasket in 69. I've been in the movement 20 years. Before that, because God will add unto you if you sincere. But you career activists don't come to National Action Network. And those of you that are here for a career, let this be your last rally. Let me say that again. If you came here to build your career, let this be your last rally. This is about continuing the fight to liberate people and continue the dream of Dr. King. And if you say you ain't building yourself here, that is absolutely correct, and we don't intend for you to build yourself here. Our people are under a demonic president that will lay off 800,000 federal workers, that will stack the Supreme Court, anti-voting rights judges and anti-civil rights judges. They're stacking the federal courts that will lock our people up in mandatory time. And you want us to stop and create a career for your non-talented, mumbling self. Go on and seek your career. We got a nation to turn around. Don't tell me, you know, I meet with some of the cabinet and Katrina and Stephen. We need to get these crowds. Let me tell you something. We started in here with 3 or 4 folks. And I'll go down to 3 or 4 more. And we turned this city upside down, and we turned it upside down before. People talking about I was there in the beginning. No, you wasn't. I know who was here. One but 3 or 4 folks. You count over 5, you lied. You were not there. I ain't never needed a crowd to do nothing. If God be for you, if God be for you, He will provide whatever you need. And you need to end 2019, not let nothing get in between you and God. If God called you, He don't need nobody to help Him do what you need to do. And if you think you're that important, you are deceiving yourself. Everybody in here, everybody, not just folk up on the platform, everybody in here was born to fulfill a purpose. I want y'all to get this clear for 2019. Everybody in here was born to fulfill a purpose. You got to pledge in 19, I'm not going to let nothing get in between me and the purpose I was born for. I ain't got time for that. So you come to me with mess, you should have called me last year. I was entertaining mess last year. And I ain't got nothing on the schedule. Mess is off my schedule. I told Ashley that night, God called me from California. Mal, yeah, I got, this, that, and the other. I got a lot of young people, and I want you to help pour into me. I got a grandson I'm going to pour into for 18 years. Whatever I got left, I ain't raising grown folk. They grow 40-something years old with kids want me to raise them. You ain't raised and got children, something wrong with you. I'm going to help raise my grandson, that. Well, I feel like you my daddy. Well, feel like something else. I ain't your daddy. I am going to do what God put us here to do, because we are in serious times. And this ain't no plaything. 3 weeks, Martin Luther King Day. We're all here, and all the elected officials and all. We have to challenge them about what is going to happen to health care, what is going to happen to our housing, what is going to happen to the income level and wage level in our community. What's going to happen when we're in a city that all of Silicon Valley is moving this way? Lloyd Williams is working with us, dealing with Amazon and Google. These people are about to flood the city with all of these technical companies around technology whose jobs are going to pay 6 figures that we're not qualified for. That's why we got Reverend Stephen Bartlett and NAN Tech and the NAN Tech bus trying to get our young people in the mentality of technology. Because they're getting ready to build right in our community, Derek, mammoth tech centers that we're not qualified to work in. We ain't got no time to waste on some folk who got petty ego. They don't understand the broad agenda. They have no plans for us. Therefore, we must plan for ourselves. Look at what they do in Long Island City with Amazon. Look at what they're doing down in Soho right now with Google in there. You are not on their minds. And you run around the hood trying to be the biggest hood rat. When I was growing up, we used to have roaches. Like a bunch of roaches arguing on, I want to be a water bug. Bunch of water bug activists. I'm bigger than you. You just a roach. I'm a water bug. I was on the news last night. I got 400 likes on Facebook, but your face means nothing. Water bugs. Just like some of these, I talked about this week on one of my morning thoughts on Instagram. We're living in a fast food kind of mentality. Folk don't go to restaurants, they go to fast food. And every number of studies show that it ain't healthy. Healthy meals, hard to get out of a window drive-through. That's right. But that is where a lot of us also deal with our mentality, drive-through. Don't study nothing, don't understand nothing. Folk don't even understand the shutdown. Folk don't understand the racial situation around bombs. Young girl shot and taken. Folk don't understand, just drive-through. Yeah, I heard something about that. Yeah, wasn't that on the news? Drive-by. And one of the reasons why you got drive-by is because we're in a kind of light world in terms of where people's thoughts are. Our public intellectuals are more into sound bites than sound thinking. You see them up on trying to get on TV rather than get in a library. Hello? And I preach it. Sometimes I watch these preachers on TV, and I can't watch them too long, Mason, because it gets me ill. With these microwave sermons. You know the difference between warming up something in a microwave and cooking a meal. Just slam it in, take it out, hot for a minute, eat it, gone. Microwave sermon. Tell somebody the Lord is good. Tell them, hallelujah. Hit 3 people and tell them God is good. No, hit 3 people and say, let's get out of here and find a preacher got something to say. I need somebody to deal with the core of my existence. Somebody that can tell me that God will reach into the depths of my sorrow and give me joy and peace in the midst of this calamity. I don't need no play and with God. I don't need nobody faking and motioning. I need to deal with the real anxiety to know that God is still a healer. You laid up in the hospital. You need health care. You got cancer. You need somebody. That man the other day died because he couldn't get his insulin, because he couldn't afford the insulin. He don't need to tap 2 people. He needs somebody to deal with pre-existing conditions. You are playing with people in the name of God. It is a sin and a shame. That's why we end up with people like Mr. Trump playing on people, playing on emotions. I'm gonna build a wall that he know don't mean nothing. But us against them, calling folk names. He's low energy. He's this, he's that. Woofing like you're in a schoolyard. Because we've allowed the mentality of Americans to be beat down into such a trivial and such a minor way of thinking. And that's what set the climate for a Trump. Because our intellectuals is more in the hashtags than they are in the philosophy. Our preachers are more into their wardrobe than the welfare of the congregation. They spend more time on what they're going to wear than what they're going to preach. And therefore the condition of the people become mediocre because you have a platform with no message. And that's why when some of them get a platform, they mess up because they're not prepared for the platform. I had me the other night with our chairman, Dr. Richardson, and he said something that's very true. He said, he tells young ministers that if you, in your journey, get to a molehill and fall, it's all right, you can keep going. But if you get up to a mountaintop and fall, everybody gonna see you fall. You may never get up again. And so many trying to get, Doc, I want a big house. You might get a big house for a big fall. You got to be a big person in order to cover a big thing. The problem is you got too many small people trying to get to big places. You trying to get to a big seat with your narrow behind. Your butt can't cover that seat. I'm talking 2019 now. Make sure you can cover this year what you're trying to get to. And the way you cover it is it's got to be about more than you. If all you think about is you, you're going to end up with nothing but you. But if you let go and let God handle your life and your journey, then you can make it through because there's more than you coming through. Somebody said to me, Reverend Al, you know, I hear you talk a lot about Reverend Jones and Reverend Jackson and those that mentored you. And, you know, I disagree with this, that, and other Reverend Jackson. Well, first of all, everybody got disagreements. Let me tell you something. I was born in '54, the year of Brown versus Board of Education. And I thought about it, Brother Gilchrist. I went through all kind of exercises, meditation, all that, get a camera and do all that. Hardy taught me all of the avant-garde stuff he used to do as a hippie. You know, he used to be a hippie. And I went through all of that. And nowhere do I remember God asking me who I wanted my parents to be. I just can't get that back in my consciousness. So if I did not decide my parents, then what makes you think that it was up to me who God was going to put me under to mentor me? You don't choose your parents or your spiritual parents. God put you there to learn what to do and what not to do. And any way you try to abdicate from that, you're not rejecting them, you're rejecting God. You get mad at your mama all you want, that is still your mama. I'm mad at my father for years and he's still my father. Folk get mad at me all they want. If God puts you there, you can't change that. Now, it is a lesson then that you are come out of house you ought to correct for these times. Trump is representing the Fred Trump, Roy Cohn house of what they did in real estate and cutting deals, and has brought it to the White House. You too busy trying to be everything to everybody that you bringing nothing nowhere but your own empty desires. So my message for you in 2019 is be clear on who you are, what you're grounded in, and where we're going, because I'm telling you, this is going to be a defining year. And only soldiers that are clear on the battle are going to make it this year. Everybody talking about 2020? You got to go through 19 to get to 20. This is going to be the year to define before we can refine. And one of the things I saw, when I look back over, you can go to nationalactionnetwork.net and see many of the highlights. Last year, we fought from Shakita Clemens in Mobile, Alabama, dragged through the Waffle House. We fought Stephon Clark's case still there. Still are doing that in Sacramento, killed by police. Fought for amendment, fought in Florida, fought around voting rights there, ex-convicts, on and on and on. Fought for Meek Mill to get out of jail. And filled it all in 1 year. Starbucks, went down and had the special there. All in 1 year, but as I thought about all of that, I thought about how every one of them, hundreds of people, thousands of people rallied. I think sometimes, Mason, we're looking for the crowd rather than the achievement. Sometimes you need to wiggle the crowd down because you need an army of soldiers, not a crowd of spectators. You know, when you get ready to fight, my father was a boxer. I used to love to go to see Ali, got close with Ali when I was a kid, and then later in life with Tyson. In order to fight, they put you in the gym to chisel you down, not blow you up. And sometimes you need to chisel down, because you got a real fight. This man is a real fight. So we in NAN, I told y'all I'm going 2021 from being president. In the next 2 years, we're going to chisel down the movement, the network for fighting weight. Meaning a lot of folk y'all see, some of them sitting up here this morning will not be here. All right now. Tell you that now. Look in the mirror. And some of them leaving and others I'm putting out. Me. Because I know the fight we gotta have and the fighters that will keep this organization going. And a bunch of profilers are not qualified to lead a movement. They're qualified to have a position, but not in a movement. Because I'm telling you, in the next 2 years, Trump has no choice but to do as much divisive and ugly things he can. And it must be based on us against them. His only strategy is that he's got to play the card of divisiveness. And if we don't have strong soldiers prepared to fight, if we don't have folk that are not concerned about how they look and what is going to appear to be about their career, you will not be effective, because he's going to throw everything he's got, because he is in, as May said, desperation now. He's getting ready to turn the corner where Congress is going to come after him, where the Mueller investigation is going to drop. And the only way he thinks he can get through is the way they always do, us against them. Go after the blacks, go after the Mexicans, go after LGBTQ. It's going to get hot in here. And you can't take the heat. Get out the kitchen, because I've been through the kitchen before. In fact, I come from a God that not only conditioned me for the kitchen, I've been conditioned to go through the fiery furnace and come out on screen. fiery furnace kind of faith. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, you got to have that kind of faith. Can you imagine what they were thinking when Nebuchadnezzar put them in the furnace? Nobody told them that God was going to make a way. Nobody promised them they wouldn't burn up. But you got to believe this so that you saying, even if I burn, I'm going anyhow. They didn't say, well, wait a minute now, maybe we can cut a deal with Nebuchadnezzar. Wait a minute now, I want to do one exclusive interview before I go in the furnace. They stood for something. And thousands of years later, we know their name, because if you've been through the fire and God bring you out the other side, I don't know who were the gods that put them in the fire, but I know the ones that come through the fire. That's why I like that message. I told you I'll get back to it. I like where Mason went this morning about the 4 with leprosy. That, and this is about where we are. The message was that they were there at the gate. Say, if we go in the city, we're going to die. But if we stay here, we're going to die. Now, that was deep. It really boiled down to the only thing they could figure out was which way they was going to die. They'd already concluded that whatever move I make, I'm going to die. And some of us are at the point in our life that we don't see our next move. Caught in a dilemma. If I go left, it's a problem. If I go right, it's a problem. So what did the lepers do? They decided that since I can't figure it out, I'm going to go in the city and pray for the best. I'm going to let God figure it out. Maybe the Syrians will have mercy. Maybe we'll get mixed up in the crowd. They stepped out on faith. And what I'm trying to tell you in this era, some things we can't figure out. But we got to go anyhow and let God work it out what we can't figure out. Nobody told them God was going to distract and have them running after something that wasn't there. You heard the message. God didn't even have the soldiers coming after them. He put the thought in their head. God got ways of delivering you that you can't figure out, that you can't predict. God will have trouble walking around bumping into walls, messing with his folk. All you got to do is stand up. God will do the rest. Don't figure out, well, I don't see how we going to get trouble. Stand up. God got a way that he'll bring the tall down. He'll bring the strong down. Don't worry about it. Do what is right. God is in the play. That's why I challenge you to make this a year bigger than you and defining for you, that's wrapped up in faith. Because everything you figured out didn't work. At some point, you got to be like the lepers. You just got to close your eyes and head for the city and say, if God be for me, it's more than the whole world against me. If God is on the throne, if God be God, he'll make my enemies my footstool. If God be God, he'll dry tears from my eyes. If God be God, he'll open doors that no one can open and shut doors that no one can shut. If God be God, he'll take nothing and make something happen. If God be God, he'll lift me up and turn me around. If God be God, I can hold on through the darkness of the night, knowing that joy and sunlight is coming in the morning. If God be God. And I come to tell you there is a God. How do I know it? Because He's been there when no one else was there. There is a God. He didn't bring us this far to leave us now. There is a God. 400 years they brought us in to Jamestown, Virginia. 400 years ago this year, they put us on blocks and sold us like a bar of soap. But now, we sit as captains of industry. Now we've lived in the White House. There's a God that can break shackles. There's a God that can break chains. There's a God that can lift us up. I can't doubt Him because He's been so good to me. There is a God. In 19, I'm stepping back and let God be God. Trump got the White House. Republicans got the Senate. Democrats got the House. I ain't dependent on none of them. Let God be God. If God be for me, He promised He'd make a way out of no way. I don't need to go back to just Nebuchadnezzar. I don't need to go back to the 4 lepers. I can tell you Shopton's story. He been food when I was hungry. He been water when I was thirsty. He been my rock, my sword, my shield. He made my way. I know Him for myself. When I call Him, He answers prayer. I don't care what they say or what they do. When He spit in the spittle clay of Africa and scooped up and made a man, He made us in His own image. If God be God, can't no Trump cancel the deity itself. Every morning I wake up, I realize that I'm a result of a divine decision. God decided to make an Al Sharpton. God decided to make a you. You are a decision God made. Your mom and daddy wanted a child, but they couldn't have a child without God signing off on it. Many folk have sex, don't never have a baby. You are a divine decision. And nobody has the right to veto who decided bringing you in. God didn't bring me here to be your Negro, Mr. Trump. God didn't bring me here to be subservient to your opinion. God didn't bring me here to bow and scrape. God didn't bring me here to laugh at what is not funny. If God be God, I'm going to be who He made me be anyhow. Up, you mighty race. Up, you mighty race. Quit your apologizing. Quit your bowing your head. Up, you mighty race. You can, if you will. Stand up, black man. This is our day. This is our time. Rise up, you mighty race. Everybody sing. Everybody singing. Everybody singing. Everybody singing. Singing like you mean it. Singing like you mean it. Everybody singing. Everybody singing. Everybody singing. One more time, go. One more time, go. One more time, go. We want justice. Got to have justice. We want justice. One last time, go. One last time, go. Everybody singing. I'm gonna open the doors of the movement. There may be someone here today that comes to the rallies, listens to us on radio, sees the television programs, but never joined the National Action Network. If you're here today, you can come right to me, just down either of the aisles, and join National Action Network right now, the first Saturday of 2019. You that are watching on Impact can go and call the number. Reverend is joining. God bless you. Reverend Mason. You that are watching on Impact can call the number 1-877-626-4651 and join right on the air. You need to be a member of National Action Network. Everybody's singing. Everybody's singing. Come on. Everybody's singing. Yeah. Sing it like you mean it. Sing it like you mean it. Sing it like you mean it. We want justice. Got to have justice. We want justice. One last time, y'all. One last time, y'all. One last time, y'all. Yeah. Everybody now. Everybody sing. Everybody sing. All right. And that wonderful start the year with 5 new members. All right. Certainly happy for that, and we're going to really be tight on our membership orientation this year. And I'm serious. A lot of dead weight we got to drop. We got to be ready for battle. This president is serious, and he got no card to play but us. That's why he's getting it set with this Mexican thing. It's us against them, us against blacks, us against browns. And we ain't got no time for no foolishness. Let's do it now. Because I think a lot of folks are so sidetracked that they don't understand the seriousness of where we are. If they can just look and ignore 800,000 families and act like it's a golf game, you're dealing with a ruthlessness and a viciousness that we can't ignore. This is about serious as it can get. So we need serious soldiers. Are y'all ready for the battle in 19? Are you ready for the battle in 19? All right. Before we take our offering, first birthday salute of the year, one of our national co-organizers, Brandon Hicks, had a birthday. Stand up, Brandon. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, brother Brandon. Happy birthday. How old are you now? How old are you now? How old are you? national co-organizers, him and Isabel. They've been with us, what, about a year now? Going on 2 years. And they've done a good job working with organizing and with allies and handling issues. And we're getting ready to stretch out this year in this battle. All right, let's raise our offering. I need everybody to give to the best of their ability. I need about 10 people to kick off this year. I need about 10 people that can give $100 or more to come quickly. I need about 10 100s. Winston Gilchrist, $100. Don Jones, $100. Lloyd Williams, Harlem Chamber of Commerce, $100. Carrie Weiss, $100. Soul Train, Carmela in pink. She was Cardi before Cardi, $100.